Testing, testing, testing. Hey,
Hello. Hi.
how are you doing?
I'm pretty okay. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
That's good.
Yeah, I went to a Kendrick Lamar concert. I posted about that. It was last Thursday night, and that was really fun.
Mhm.
It was the first time I'd been, I think, to a concert, and I thought it was like really well put together, and it was fun because somehow I've been delivered like several facts about Kendrick Lamar's like whole act, where like there's the yelling of mustard, and the fact that I saw the Super Bowl halftime show, and that show, the Super Bowl halftime show, a lot of the elements are based on his current album, I guess, which I think is like
Yeah.
GNX, and so is the world tour, is also that like the grand national world tour, which is all themed around that the car, I guess, which is symbolic to him, and then SZA also. So it was kind of fun to just feel like there was several points where I like understood what was going on, like the song they played and its significance to the greater rap battle. Like there's one song that I think sort of kicked off the rap battle that they played, and I felt like that was a deeper piece of knowledge that I knew. And whenever mustard was about to come out, like I recognized the sounds like before they yell mustard, and so I felt
Yeah, that's
like
cool.
yeah, it felt like I was participating, like I anticipated like the audience reaction, and uh, that was fun to like feel like you're part of understanding what's going on in the way the whole crowd's reacting.
Yeah, it's fun. That's a really fun part of concerts. And yeah, I guess in the footage, I noticed that too. Like you sent me that clip of,
Yeah, the
it's
A minor.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
cars in the background and stuff. But he
Mm.
says, he says something you know the words or something, and then after he says that, you hear the chorus line play that and to me that chorus line is what spawns the information in my mind of oh yes, this is what I'm supposed to sing next, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So it's a fun experience to have somebody go you know the words, and then you're do I know the words, and then it's dun, 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 and it's oh, I do know the words, you hear the
Mhm.
yeah, the
Yeah, like it creates like a relationship somehow where they know information that's in your head and you know like their cue, but you don't even realize you have that connection until they kind of like trigger it. Like you've gotten it
yeah,
from some other source. Yeah. And then yeah, it's like, oh, he knows that we know that this thing and we're here for that, and it's like a funny,
yeah.
like everyone realizes they're there for the same thing like at the same moment.
Yeah, it's almost like a little bit of a magic trick or a magic show. Is the live performance aspect of it
Yeah.
is sometimes the expression on the artist's face is they're doing the expression of just what you would expect them how to feel or something when they're singing that line, and you're yeah, that's how I thought they felt
Yeah, I never really realized that about concerts. uh, it was kind of a mystery. Like I've never been to a concert, and so I just knew all the facts about like what a concert was and how it functions. But then seeing it, it was a good experience to see it like firsthand, just to piece together the the way like what fans show up and what are they expecting and how long is it and stuff like that. These were all variables that didn't really understand. And then
Yeah,
there
I
was
think you
one.
were
Oh yeah, go ahead.
you had seats that were pretty high up in the back, I
Yeah.
think. Were people up that high? Were you guys still standing most of the time and stuff like that and singing along and
Yeah,
stuff?
I could tell it was like the same kind of people up there. Like they wanted to fully participate. It was just probably like those were like the cheapest way to get in. But they had like the same energy, I think, as people. And then when the actual concert fully started, I think there was almost like a usher guy, like one of the popcorn sales guys, that he like made a motion like, oh, everybody stand up, to like encourage, because people I think want, like a lot of
Okay.
people want to stand up, but they're like, people don't want to stand up if no one's standing around them. It's awkward. So they make a little motion like, oh, everybody like feel free, kind of like almost to stand up, and then
That's nice. Yeah.
everybody does. Yeah, and then once everybody's standing around you, you feel like, oh, I'm gonna stand up too. And then uh, that was sort of a moment where I realized like, oh yeah, like, everybody is gonna like sway, back and forth, and like bob their head like to certain lines. And when you're standing, it does feel like you're, everybody's standing around you, and you can see like the motion of the crowd. And uh, so
Yeah.
that was something that I felt was like more engaging than, like, I'm just used to ever just going to, like, twice I've been to the orchestra, and you just like sit there and listen to the music. And so I almost was picturing that sort of vibe, like staying seated in my seat. Like, when I first bought the tickets, I was like, should I bring binoculars? Like, am I just going to be like watching and looking at stuff? But then it was so much, I guess the way concerts are, and I think that's a good thing. They're so like everybody's moving in the audience, and you just
Mhm.
want to sort of be like present and, sort of feel the music mostly. And that, yeah, that they did, even when like DJ Mustard comes out as like the opening act, he made reference, to the people up there in the top. Like he'd be like, people up there, I see you. Like, like at one point he was telling everyone, he was trying to like break the ice and stuff, and say, everyone, like, put your arm around the people next to you, and like follow the person in front of you. And he would like look up at the top and be like, you people up there, do it too, like, I see you. And so it's sort of like, I feel like
That's funny.
they're aware that they want everyone to get like the value and feel like seen and included or something.
Yeah, and also just like feel like they're in a safe environment probably too. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like on most concerts like that now, I think probably do like bag checks and like I don't know if you would have
Mm-hmm.
had to go through metal detectors for that one. I think the last concert I went through, it was only a bag check that they did, and then they just asked if I had anything on my person. But like I felt really safe anyway. That was like
Mm-hmm.
in Montreal, and like it was like in an audience that was pretty close together. So like
Yeah.
yeah, I guess like somebody could have realistically brought something into that, but like I still felt safe at it. Like it doesn't feel like the type of environment somebody would like do something weird in.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting how many people gather together, and just the way, like, there's tensions among different artists and stuff. You'd think that some weird person would bring like something to throw, and like, I guess if you want to get within throwing distance, pretty much you're paying like over $1,000, and nobody, like, people wouldn't do that and then show up
Yeah.
angry and like ruin their. So I feel like it's just interesting though how, like, a combination of a little bit of security and everything, uh, leads to like a safe event, when you think that if you just gathered that many people, you'd think that someone would. But I guess, yeah, I guess that's one. But it's almost like just relying on the, like, humans will not freak out if everyone around them is not freaking out or something. Like, everyone just kind of,
Yeah. So
doesn't.
maybe
Yeah.
yeah, maybe they
Yeah.
yeah, because
But
I feel
that. Yeah.
like
Mhm.
yeah, like I know some. I think in some of Kendrick Lamar's lines are like gang related, or like he has like some like gangs like related stuff in his songs, which like I don't think it's like necessarily terrible unless like there's also a ton of gun violence in it as well or something like that. But um, like yeah, I just feel like when you're an artist that includes like lines like that in your songs, then yeah, like inherently like you might be like yeah like I feel like there would be like a higher level of anxiety or something that something might go on or somebody might say something like gang related to somebody else of an opposite gang or something in the audience or like something like that and like maybe yeah like I feel like there's
Yeah.
probably like effective ways to like mitigate that and like one of those would be like okay everybody put your arms around each other like everybody like the audience involved sort of thing like I feel like that would be a good
Mhm.
way to do it but like yeah also I don't want it to sound like I'm like picking on Kendrick Lamar specifically or like his
Yeah, more
music
the
because I think
general. Yeah, because
yeah,
the
like I think
in
there's a lot
yeah.
of like artists that would have the same type of issue and it's like how do you socialize the audience so that anybody that might be feeling that way like because they're getting pumped up by the music or something like decides not to do anything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I wonder. It felt. It was so smooth. like I guess we did walk through some very light metal detectors that are just always present at the entrances of like this baseball stadium. And
Okay,
then
yeah.
I had like a just a like a light a like just a light like satchel bag with like a hat in it or something, and so they just like looked in it as I walked past. And then
Mhm.
there was like a ramp, like I walked up this ramp that was pretty wide, and there was like a merch line that snaked like all the way up to the top, like off the beginning, but there was like
Yeah.
orderly and off to the side. And so it was just like walking up this ramp with enough space to my seat. And then it was like the daytime outside because it's an open stadium, so it was just like sitting in the sunlight, with like not so many people around me up at the top. Like I easily could find my seat. There was like ability to buy food and drinks, like no long lines before the show.
Mhm.
And so that just felt like such a calm, and it was, it's like a few blocks from my house, the stadium. So it just felt
Yeah.
like I'm near my house. No one's, it's not crowded. It's daylight. But then it became like sunset when the thing started. And so it still transformed into like more like there was smoke. It was dark. The music was loud. People were like moving. So it felt like that was sort of the vibe, like the crowd being engaged vibe that I was looking for. But I
Yeah.
just felt like the venue and the organization and the light. Like, I never saw like a security guard, like overlooking the crowd, like, inspecting us or anything. It just felt very
Yeah.
like normal. And I'm just impressed by how smoothly people came in, the timing, and then also it just feels like it delivered what concerts deliver, but
Mhm.
in a way where I was never like being pushed in a crowd or feeling like nervous or
Yeah. It
anything.
was
Yeah.
like pretty much like a Broadway show or something, but like a musical artist
Yeah.
type of thing. Because there's like,
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, because I guess there's different like delivery methods for music as well, like in terms of like in-person venues. Because like music festivals are pretty different, I guess, from
Yeah,
like
that's
a
another.
concert.
There's a music festival called Outside Lands in Golden Gate Park for 3 days, and you can go. You can get like a 1 day ticket, but that's also like a $200 ticket or something. So that's another one I'm debating because I would also like to have the experience of, like jumping, like everybody's jumping in a big like crowd see with like a person on
Yeah,
stage doing like electric music or something, and just the
it can
freedom
be
to like
like
move, in the field where
yeah,
you want. Yeah.
it can be like aggravating. Like I don't know what the experience is like for a guy, but like
Mm.
as like a woman in like festival like environments like that, like I don't, yeah, again, like, I don't know. I would say, like, I would caution, like, be ready for people to, like, push you just to see how you're going to react and, like, stuff like that. Like, if you're jumping up and down in the audience, like, yeah, be ready for people to, like, to bump into you or try to push you out of the way or, like, people will try to get to the front of the audience. And, like, if they're pushing people out of the way, just let them do it. Like,
Mm. Yeah,
yeah, like,
I was reading
if,
some stuff on Reddit. Yeah, like a lot of people focus, well, this concert had like a small mosh pit that you had to like pay to get into at the very front. And I think a lot of people's advice like centers on that of like the
yeah,
social dynamics, like how to sort of stay safe in a mosh pit scenario, or like if you're right up against a barricade. But
yeah,
I
I
guess I
would
would kind of, yeah, if there was
say,
free movement, if I went to outside lands, I would have that option. So that's good to know that uh
yeah.
people don't like people are not super polite like in the crowds.
Yeah, yeah. I think like anytime you're in an like it depends like on I guess because you can decide like how deep into the audience or like how far into the audience you want to go to.
Hmm.
But like if you're at the point where you're like shoulder to shoulder with people or something or like close to like less than a meter distance with people, then that's the point that people start to like push and stuff, just kind of like because they can or like because they're excited and they like want to bump into people or something like that. Yeah.
They like switch on a song that's just about like pushing. It's like hyping people up to push people. You're like, this is my favorite
Pretty much.
song. It makes
Like
me want to push people. They just start
yeah.
pushing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
my
like
goal.
I was looking at like
Mm.
I was watching like a live stream of like Las Vegas EDC that happened like I think a few weekends ago and that's kind of like a big electronic show, but
Mm.
I didn't see any mosh pits in that one. But mosh pits are they sound fun. Like they sound respectful. I guess it depends on the artist that's doing
Yeah,
the
I don't know what
music.
the definition exactly is. This one felt pretty clear because the stage had like a diamond shape that performers would walk on this like walkway around like a triangular, what I would consider the mosh pit. And then
Mhm.
there was like a separate entrance to that pit. It was like a cube of people that were like, wedged between like the main stage. And then there was like a bear
Mhm.
like two like whatever you call it, like like moats, almost like moats for security, like around the mosh pit, and then like a barricade that would be like the front barricade that you could get to if you were in the like concert floor, like seating.
Yeah.
But then yeah, in
I
a
guess
like
I
mosh
would
pit, in
say
a like, do you think a mosh, like if it's just a field with a stage, anybody could do anything? I guess I would define the mosh pit as like the people wedged on the front barricade center, and then the if the crowd density like maintains around that, I guess that would be the mosh pit zone where mosh pit stuff would happen.
yes. Yeah, if the audience like is like the type of audience that is ready for a mosh pit and like knows what it is, then usually it'll form. Usually, sometimes like two will form like
Hmm.
opposite each other or something like that. But like the audience will like make yeah like just kind of like make a area
Uh,
for them.
I always
I haven't seen them. I
assume.
haven't seen them
Hmm.
like against the front barriers though.
Oh
I've
yeah.
only seen them like in the kind of near the front in the middle. Yeah.
But wouldn't isn't yeah, I guess I have a lot of assumptions that the like the I always thought mosh pit was just a way of describing a certain crowd density and energy, and that the reason it forms is that people in the front center, the music is loud, they're having a good time, and they want to be, and there's like the pushing I always associated with jockeying for spot, while sort of like dancing enthusiastically in a really dense crowd, which would result in like pushing
Yeah.
and jockeying, and like
I think like
but it
I
seems
think
almost like
mosh
once
pits.
it's like once people define themselves to be in a mosh pit, they like change their behavior accordingly because they want to do like mosh pit things, and not as a result of being in a dense crowd, but because like they're looking for the experience of like pushing into people a bit, and that's why
Yeah.
they show up there or something.
I'm trying to find I was watching like a concert recently that had pretty good footage of like mosh pits in it.
Oh yeah, and then someone on Reddit said like if people are crowd surfing, like keep your hands, above your head so you don't get like kicked or something. And it was funny to think of like you'd always just see like, oh, crowd surfing, like that's cool, like no problems there, and like the person doing the crowd surfing is like hopefully voluntary. But then thinking about, oh yeah, being under like a body being lifted up, and people are like really densely packed, like you'd have to have a little bit of thought put into that for how do you stay safe, like, or not get kicked by a foot or something.
Yeah. Here, I think I'm gonna try to link to a part. So like this one is like a Japanese band called Baby Metal. I think this links to a specific spot.
Yeah, it did the timestamp. Yeah, that is like I haven't seen the part yet. It did do a timestamp to a certain part, but it hasn't really shown the crowd. But yeah, it's puzzling to think how would something like that arise. If I guess if there's like a big group of fans that have an idea and they start sort of doing it, and then it becomes like people see that in other previous live streams, then they attend a concert, they know it's going to happen maybe. Yeah, it's almost like there's concerts have like conventions that I pick up on as like, something signals or occurs that is not like self-evident, and then everyone sort of knows what's up, and you can
Yeah.
tell like, oh, they're all doing one
So
thing, I
if you
guess.
go
Yeah.
yeah, in
Oh
that video,
yeah.
if you go to about like 26 minutes and 30 seconds is like a really good example
Oh yes,
of
I see in the preview. Yeah. Oh yeah, the person on stage is like moving their hand, like, oh, and then everyone's
yeah.
moving their hand the same way. But yeah, there's like an open space, almost like an
Yeah,
open
so this
hole in
space
the middle.
like opens up. It's like
Yeah, maybe they have sort of like they want to make sure everybody in the pit is voluntary, so they open it up because they're starting. They're like notifying everyone like we're gonna start it, and then people who are into it go in. Yeah, because I never thought about it, but there would be like parents and kids, of course, like parents that bring their kids, parents that are kind of fans. Like I saw, some older people with like teenagers and stuff around me and at the concert, and that I sort of made me realize like, oh yeah, like there's kids that are fans of Kendrick Lamar, obviously, and but they got to stay like they're not going to do drugs. They got to stay safe. Like their parents, you know, are there too to enjoy and so it was sort of that's like an effect as well, where not everyone at the concert is like gonna do drugs and be like of an age where they can hurt people or something. It's like kids you got to watch out for and parents that are just there to have a good time. So then, yeah, it's like the like everyone, all kinds of people are there. So then you do have to divide yourselves somehow into places where everyone gets to have like their experience, but not affect like not harm the people around them.
Yeah.
Because then, yeah, I feel like the fans are like the fans have a thing going that they want to maintain, and if people get injured, then like there'll be more rules on the concert, and they don't want they want to sort of maintain what they have. So then they know they have to like a responsibility to be responsible to avoid
Yeah.
like losing the freedom to just do the concert in the way that it's done.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, like Kendrick Lamar's fans are like pretty good. Like the community that he has like around his music is like pretty supportive and stuff. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
like uh I saw I don't really like watch the news or anything, but sometimes there'll be like televisions on in restaurants and stuff like that, and I'll end up watching stuff. And like I remember when I was in the States, like seeing it was like a teacher of Kendrick Lamar or something was talking about how like when Kendrick Lamar went to school there, like he was always supportive of him or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's nice that that's on the news. I guess.
Yeah, and yeah, I just feel like his music tells like such a open story that is like I feel like if I listened and read his lyrics enough, I would receive most of the story that he's telling. And then of course
Mhm.
everybody does like these analysis videos where they give you the actual backstory and they connect it to the songs. But it seems that like you sort of really understand like what he's about and how he considers himself to have evolved, like the mistakes he's made in the past, yeah, how he's evolved, what he's about these days.
Mhm.
And so that really it really creates like a clear like nobody's seeming to get like the wrong message or a harmful message. They're just getting like the they're just sort of able to feel like the like personal growth being kind of cool and self-awareness and authenticity and like voicing your opinion about your struggles or something. It's all
Yeah.
like very open and seems like pretty self-aware and responsible,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting. And one thing uh, I want to learn more genre terms because we before we talked about drill rap, but
Yeah.
drill rap somehow is different than of it, like Kendrick Lamar's music. Kendrick does like spoken word rap almost,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I
but
would say
spoken
he's
word
like
rap I
an
haven't heard.
American. I would say he's probably
Hmm.
like American rap, pop, spoken word, or
And
something.
then, but the thing I always associate pop with like repeating the same words, and I notice that in almost like a lot of his popular songs, he never repeats like a verse. There's no like central chorus or whatever that repeats or like catchy, catchy phrase. Like, well, there's catchy phrases, but he only says it like once, and it's part of the solid narrative.
Yeah,
And that's yeah.
I consider
Hmm.
pop like any anything that is like danceable that is like widely known, I guess.
Right.
So maybe
Oh
that's
yeah,
like
that's a
my
good distinction. Yeah, because yeah, I feel like there's some of his songs that are cross the line a bit where it's like not even that rhythmic or danceable, like maybe one or
Yeah,
two.
but like you could
Yeah.
probably play it alongside like a
Mm.
Britney Spears song in a club and like people would still dance to it. And like that's kind of like what makes me consider it pop is that like
Mm.
it's kind of like of the same beat and rhythm of like popular other popular music in
Yeah.
like dance clubs and stuff like that.
The one thing
That
that
doesn't mean yeah, that doesn't mean it's like is only defined by being pop or anything like that though. Like
right.
these yeah.
Yeah, I just have a distinction in my head where so much music that I'm exposed to that is like supposed to be popular music that's played on radios and in places and like the big songs that are on top of the charts, they I hate it when they repeat the same phrase because that is like the classic thing of it gets stuck in my head, and I get sort of like tired or burnt out on verses, especially if I'm like listening to a song and they keep saying the same thing over and over again. It feels to me like my brain wants, like if my brain is in tune and it's like, oh, this song, like I get what this song is about, but then I just wish that they would like drop like a bunch of verses in a row. Like that's always my feeling is like they're wasting time. Like they could pack this song with so much extra little things that expand on what they're meaning instead of just uh
Yeah.
like there's some value to like repeating the same phrase, but then when it gets like stuck in my head and it's just like it feels a bit like lazy almost, like they just created the song and picked a phrase and then like kept saying it and until it was 3 minutes done, and it's sort of like how did they not like get a room of people that were like, wait, we can do more with this, like we can hide stuff in here and like tell a
It makes
story.
me
Yeah.
it makes me feel like you know that joke. It's like, hey, you shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Like, it makes me think of like, hey, you podcast when you're singing to me. It's like I want there to be so much information loaded into your song. I don't even know what you're saying until I
That
listen to
is
it.
what
Like,
I want.
yeah, yeah.
Like
That
that's
is
actually
like,
the part where I have the most fun with like a Kendrick song is like he says a few things and I'm like, oh, I recognize that, and then I like zone out and I just start like having fun to the music, and then I wake up and I realize like, oh, he said like paragraphs of stuff that like that sounded
yeah,
cool, like it sounded in time. Like I guess I'll, it's like an exciting like, oh, I get to go back and like figure out what he said and uh like learn something, but I also just can like enjoy it. But then when
yeah.
the song is done, it's like there there was so many cool parts of the song and neat verses, but it's like I could listen to it again because there's parts that I forget, and there's like it's like, oh yeah, this part, and it's like re-listenable in a way for me that like a lot of songs, the brain hack they do is they repeat the same thing, then you don't need to re-listen to it. You know all the lyrics because it like hacked it into your mind or something.
Yeah, I like the artistry of being able to say like basically yeah like basically being able to say an essay of stuff in like 3 minutes. Because
Yeah.
like when you do yeah like when you're talented like in that way I guess like Kendrick Lamar where you can like use like double meanings and like things like that, like you can really use like very few words to say like a lot of stuff, so it's like
Yeah.
it's yeah I think it's like a pretty interesting like especially when you can do like yeah like 3 minutes 3 minutes of yeah just like spoken word that makes people like that yeah inspires people I guess to think about the other things that like everybody has read in like or like everybody yeah in that scene has read maybe
Yeah. And that
yeah and
it
it
was
like
funny
says
that,
very much
yeah, and you're saying like 3 minutes because that's like average length of a song, but this concert was like 2.5 hours of like solid performing with like like SZA would do songs, he would do songs, they'd do songs together, and almost all their
yeah
songs are like non-repeating like stories, and so I actually walked away thinking like, is that what happens when you add like if you add up a lot of their hit songs, it's literally like 2.5 hours of nonstop like
yeah I
just
guess
them like
that's like
saying stuff, and it's like wow, a lot of that like almost all of that went over my head, but like I feel like I took the
yeah.
message away kind of.
Yeah, it's essentially, I guess, yeah, like oh, it slipped my mind.
It's fun though that they're also different. Like the songs all feel distinct and different, but once they're made, it feels like this is the way the song has to be. It's so interesting to me, that
Yeah.
idea that like from nothing, like you choose a beat, you fit the words, and it becomes unique and distinct from other songs. But when you listen to it, you're like, this is like discovering the song. Like it's like
Yeah.
this is the way it should be, and you couldn't change it. They discovered, a thing that, like a new song that works, and it just feels very unalterable. And but then sometimes they'll perform it in different ways, or they'll like remix it somehow, and that also feels correct. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I think it
yeah,
feels like when somebody makes like yeah, a really good hit, like it feels like yeah, this song was always like meant to it's like how has nobody made this before or something like that.
yeah.
Like it's sometimes how it feels like. But yeah, I've definitely heard raps and stuff where like there's like one verse where it just ruins the whole song and it's like, oh, like why did I do that?
Yeah, that's actually one
Like
of, like, the song that would be my favorite is called "Like That" by Future, Metro Boomin, and Kendrick Lamar has a couple verses. And but the song, it starts out uh with like a bunch of like sex language essentially, and throughout the song there's kind of that. But then there's like I really like the chorus, uh where like the thing they repeat in that, like that song does have a repeating verse. But there's like a beat that sounds really cool and interesting to me, that they like sing that chorus to. And then there's also like a kid's voice that comes in that's like higher pitched, and it like weaves a little bit. Uh, and the other cool thing about that song is that like Kendrick Lamar had not released any songs for a while, and people weren't sure what was going on. But then he appeared as a feature in this like Future song, for a couple verses, and those verses are where he like kicks off the his counter to like Drake had said something about the big three being these other rappers, and then, or
oh
like including Kendrick or something, and Kendrick makes his like announcement where he doesn't care about the big three. It's he says it's just Big Me or whatever, and people were
yeah.
not like, people just listened to that song not knowing he was featuring in it, and then they heard his voice in there, and they're like, wait, what is he saying? Like he's starting, like that's where he sort of started the battle. But to me, then what I think almost part
It's like
of,
because he hid it. It's probably because he hid
yeah.
it, like, or well, like he didn't probably mean to hide it, but like people found it in like a hidden way. Like he was just guest
Mm,
featured on some track and made like a comeback, and people
yeah.
like that's probably what made people like, oh, like did you know? Like it became a fact. Like did you know that Kendrick Lamar like countered this verse in this verse? Like
Yeah. And at first
it's funny.
I was like, it's too bad that they have certain language and stuff like that in this song, because it makes it like not, you can't like share it with everybody. But then I realized, like, oh yeah, like that does kind of hide the message. It's like if Kendrick wanted to hide in plain sight, you could have a song that opens with some certain language that's like not great for kids, and you can't play it in a public place. So that actually changes, like that song is not going to be
Right.
like, yeah, public on the radio. Like, so Kendrick's opening, like attack on Drake's idea or whatever is kind of buried in plain sight in that way, where it's a song that you have to go listen to yourself. Like, you can't really, like, people don't want to share it or whatever that much, I assume, because uh
Yeah.
yeah. And so that is interesting. And then the other thing that I see that done with is, Kendrick has a song called, I think it's Euphoria, where it's like slower, and it is just like talking, and you wouldn't necessarily, I think, like play that as like a hype up song or in a club or anything. And but
Yeah.
that song, I think, contains like a lot of dense like information. I believe that's the one where like Kendrick pretends he's like talking to Drake's like son and stuff. And I sort of thought, like, you wouldn't want to make that
That's
song
like
the like you wouldn't want to win it, like, because it looks bad when you're like talking to Drake's son. That could easily turn back on you as like, oh, that's too far. But if you
yeah,
make
that's like a weird thing
yeah,
to do. Like I'm not gonna lie, like that is
yeah,
a weird thing to do. Like it depends on a few things. Like it depends if it's an adult son that he's talking to. It depends if he knows the person. Like I don't even want to know the facts because I don't want to have an opinion on it. But like
well, the facts are
that
kind of in
just
his favor,
like
because it's
I
like,
didn't know he did something like that, and like that's a little bit weird to be like Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess
on it,
it
that's
depends
the
on what
thing, right?
it depends on what
Yeah.
the line is too. Like
Mm.
if it's like a one off like oh like I hope your daddy blah 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 or something like that, like, and it's kind of a joke or something, like, then maybe, but because he's not really talking to him, it's kind of more to the audience, but it's still
Yeah.
strange.
That's
I
why,
think.
yeah, I think that's why if this song where he talks about the sun was like really popular and played in clubs and on the radio, Kendrick would become known as like the guy who took a shot at Drake's like son, and people would know that fact out of context and maybe accidentally like be against Kendrick for that. But the fact that the song is not like the song perhaps intentionally is not like shooting for the stars in terms of notability and awards and stuff, because it's also,
Yeah.
I feel, hiding in plain sight, where you have to sort of like you listen to all the hit songs and then optionally you can go listen to this like second tier one that is more like informational, but by the time you get there and you intentionally seek it out, you already know enough information that you're probably on the same side as Kendrick. Because yeah, the facts
Yeah,
that I know are
I
that
guess maybe
Kendrick is the one that like revealed that Drake even has that son, because Drake was like not looking after, like he, you know, he had a son with someone and then was not married to them and then kind of just like
yeah, I heard
was
kind
not
of
a
that
present.
drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
heard that.
then yeah, so that's sort of the conditions is like Kendrick sort of being like, hey, I think you should be like more responsible and be a father, and I feel bad for like your son kind
Right.
of thing, because
I
because
guess like if
ideally
he
Drake
just
would
doesn't
take that advice.
acknowledge it.
You know? It's funny that
Yeah.
it's funny, like I kept thinking when I learned about these things is like, man, if Drake just took Kendrick's advice, Drake could be a responsible adult like Kendrick. And it's like kind of like that's my view, is like it's like, man, like as famous as Drake is, he could learn a lot from Kendrick, who's probably like 10 years younger than him or something. Like, it's just a funny perspective of like, it's like Kendrick's got some good points. Maybe Drake should just like follow the follow the advice.
It's like I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know too much about like the situation with Drake, but yeah, or like and what the lyrics were that Kendrick was saying, but yeah, it is
Yeah.
kind of strange, like
Yeah, there's a lot I don't know as well, but everything
when
I
yeah,
feel like I have figured out fits fits in the correct
yeah,
spot that I expect.
yeah, like from what I remember hearing, it was kind of like one of those situations where it was like a celebrity trying to hide a child because it would make them less famous or something, basically.
Mm.
Like
Oh yeah.
it sounded maybe like that was kind of the situation. I don't know, but yeah, and that feels like pretty fair to take shots at, because like if you I think if you're a celebrity and you find yourself in a life situation where like you can learn and grow like with the public, like if you're a celebrity and you have like an accidental baby, like it's just way better, I think, to like be honest about it and like come out with it instead of ending up in a situation like I don't know, like I just feel really shitty picking on like specific celebrities, but like yeah, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like Tiger Woods, like those types of people that like it comes out that they're cheating and then they find out that they have kids and then all this stuff happens. It's like if you're a celebrity and you have like a secret child or like are in a situation where like somebody is currently pregnant with your baby, like just tell whoever you're with like that that's the truth, and then like go from there and like be honest with the media about it, because like that's the way that everybody should do it. Like it's like do
Uh,
like yeah, it's just I feel like when you're like I feel like when you're a celebrity and you have like a public platform, it's like you should use that platform, like if the platform is based on your personality, which like Drake is 100%, that's his whole content, like that's what pretty much how I think like most rap artists operate, is like their music is like their identity basically.
hmm.
So it's like
Yeah, you'd hope that
how do
it's
you
aligned authentically with their identity.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's how people like I feel like that's how people relate to Kendrick Lamar's music, is like they hear him say things and then like they know like a lot of the a lot of his past experiences and a lot of like the media that he's read, and like they can connect the dots together. But then like if you're inauthentic about what's going on in your life and you're trying to like produce basically poetry about your life to people, people are going to start noticing that something's off if you've experienced like some weird trauma, like having a secret son or daughter, like, and you like don't be public about it, like people are going to notice that your music is like changed in a weird way.
Mhm.
I feel like personally, like it would be weird to be able to still produce art that is like unchanged,
Uh,
like because like you're just, I don't know, like
yeah, there's
it's
just like a
strange to me.
bigger, more important life event that is more like humanity. And then
Yeah,
if the music
and
is
like
still like I'm a party guy and I'm like, the best and cool and rich, it's just
yeah.
like I don't think this person has grown from like the life experience, and you'd sort of uh yeah, I
Yeah, I
always
guess
feel
like
like that's
it
a
would be
yeah.
really, yeah, and like I think the majority of Drake's audience might have been like female, so like for him to rap about having a secret baby and like trying to be redeemed like by his audience, like probably would have never happened. Like he would have probably gained like a pretty large like male following. I think he has more of a male following now, honestly. Like um since the Kendrick stuff started happening, maybe. But like if he went like 100% honest about it and like just started rapping about having an affair and a secret baby or something, like
Yeah.
if that's what actually happened, because I don't know if that's just what I remember, like
Yeah, that's
in my
what
old person brain from
uh
like 10 years ago whenever it happened, like
yeah, the I would that's what like excites me the most is thinking like if Drake is talented, he's got talented people around him. If he just like comes out and produces like a song that is not a diss track against anyone else, but is like a song that is getting in touch with like himself, but it also sounds good, and it's just like a song that's admitting his faults and talking about who he is, and that he's made mistakes but he's learned from them, and like you couldn't like a song that you couldn't make unless you've really done the hard work of coming to terms with who you are and who you want to be, and where everything stands, and then
yeah.
like sort of stating like your lines, your
It's like,
morals, uh and
yeah,
then
it's
making
like
a yeah like yeah like
it's like
that would
how
be an
it's like
undefeatable song, like
it's like we want to see a song called like Kendrick, you're right. Like,
yeah.
and then I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't know.
I think that
It just
would
feels like
yeah.
that would be like that would be like the joke name of this song, basically. But it's like, yeah, I would love to start seeing rap that's just like I had an
Yeah.
affair and I have a secret baby, and guess what? The baby's getting child support now. Yay! Like, and like everybody's getting along. We're still a community. Like, it's like I feel like that's the type of rap like we need. Like it just like it sounds silly because obviously like everybody emotionally and involved in a situation like that is going to be angry at each other, but like that's the type of like musical support our emotions need
Yeah.
is people being like, oh, like oops, like we fucked up like humans again, like let's just be supportive.
Yeah, that like in my mind, like being a celebrity affects like someone's mind so much that they couldn't really make that pivot, and it wouldn't really read very well in terms of the public. Like the media
Yeah.
would maybe not take it correctly. It would have to be like very carefully messaged because people are not used to like that kind of PR, like self-depreciating PR or something.
Yeah, like if it came out of
Yeah.
nowhere, but like I feel like you could probably
Yeah, you could do it
like you
really
could
well, I think, and it would be so
yeah.
new and fresh.
Yeah, like you could like because like when a situation does happen like that to somebody, like I think they do like they obviously change and they look like they're under a lot of stress and that sort of thing.
Mm.
Like because there's a big situation going on, and I mean like if they were actively writing songs about it and going to release something about it and did interviews while they were in a state like that, then everybody would be wondering like what's going on. Like and like you could do it in a way that is like very authentic, I think. And like although it would still be received like poorly, it would still be like received positively as a total because it's like a real situation that happens in real life, and like why, like if your media is based on you, then like why would you hide that thing? Like
Hmm.
it seems.
Yeah,
But
that's such a
yeah, again, I
fascinating.
guess it,
Yeah.
yeah, like I guess it depends too on how like, because like Drake is not whatever his real name is. Like Drake the artist is different
Mm.
from, I don't know, like
Yeah, whatever
Matthew,
there. Yeah.
like whatever his name is. Like
Yeah.
so it's like, so it depends, like it depends on how much of a divide they want there to be between like the musical artist persona and their actual identity. But like, yeah, it feels like when it gets to the point where there's like other artists that are like taking shots at your real identity in their music about your music, then like you're at the point where your music is just about your identity. Like
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
the way that kind of feels. I don't know.
Yeah, I made a recently I was thinking about this idea of like when I make content, like specifically, yes, well, 2 days ago, I played like the first hour of Outer Wilds, but I like recorded like a screen recording of like just me talking out loud as I played, like all my thoughts. And then at first I thought like this, it's going to be a bad video because it was like 2.5 hours with like silences. And I
Yeah.
wasn't like, obviously, it's just my voice like commenting on stuff that happens. Like I was making a few jokes. I thought like, there's few and far between couple of jokes that I made, mostly commenting on like how I felt or what I was confused about or something, or like what
Yeah.
I was anticipating. And so, but then what I did was I started editing that video and I cut out like all the silences. And so now it's like a solid 2 hours of me talking, but it only shows like the video that is synced with whatever I'm saying. And then whenever I go silent, it just jumps forward to like the next time I was talking. And that
Oh,
actually makes it
oh
uh
yeah.
like, so it's sort of, and you can hear me like it was like late at night and I didn't really feel like starting the game, but I thought, I want to start this sometime. I got to do it now. And so then I motivated myself by making the video, but I'm still sort of like towards the end of it. Like there's a verse where I'm like yawning like at one point because I'm sort of like tired and I'm like, this is sort of like my stopping point. And but it's funny that that voice to me comes across as like so uh like a guy who's making a YouTube video that's going to get 0 views. Like that's my mindset clearly in the video.
Yeah.
And like as I'm making the video, I'm sort of self-aware that like I don't even know if I can edit this into anything. Like maybe I'll just try something else and throw out this recording. So I was sort of
Yeah.
like really talking to myself and just being myself and talking, like saying what I felt. Uh, but
That's
then
pretty much like,
yeah.
yeah, it's the way that I do like my
Hmm.
content too. Because
Yeah.
I feel like if I if I approach like my starting content that way, then like I'll attract people that are very like similar minded to me.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like somebody that can watch me talk for hours is probably gonna have like a lot in common with me.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's like a pretty good way to build a base audience of people that like know they're going to enjoy your future content because they like align with your like core values. And I think it's also a good way to keep out like trolls and stuff like that, because like a troll isn't going to sit around for like a, well, some do, but a troll usually isn't going to sit around for like 3 hours of like boring gameplay
Yeah.
to try to like pick out the things that might bother you or something like that. Like they're much more likely to do that if you have like very fast paced content that is like about yourself as opposed to like slow content.
Yeah.
So I think like having starting content that's like that is good. Like if you're looking to form like a base, basically like a base audience that will help curate the future
Hmm.
people in your in that want to participate in the chat, or like if you ever plan on having a chat or like comments, sometimes like the community will like come together to kind of like mod itself. Like if
Right.
somebody says like, hey, you looked kind of fat in this video, like somebody in your community like in your community might reply to them and say like, don't do that, or like discourage them, and then like there'll be like less of that in the future. Like so it's like, yeah, it's good to try to build like a slow positive community first, I think, is my
Yeah.
input on that, I think.
And I see it as like matching the energy of of the whatever audience we're envisioning. And if like I'm envisioning like an audience of 0 or like 1, so that's like low energy. It's like just me talking to another person, which I wouldn't like talk in like a hyped up voice. But then it's almost like, what if the video was happened to be good enough or go viral or something where it got like millions of views and then a bunch of money. And then it's interesting to think like, what video would I make after that? Like, could I maintain the same casual down to earth voice that's like throwaway lines when I knew there was an audience of like 1 million like anticipating the thing? And
Yeah.
if the audience, like if the audience knows I'm making a video for like 1 million people, when they get delivered like just like a really chill like poor like, you know, like long conversation, it feels like their expectations are not met. Like they're looking for something more energetic.
Yeah.
And that's,
I
it's interesting to
feel
me how like you almost have to like modify your own voice or resist modifying it based on what we perceive as like the expected audience, or else it will be
yeah.
like a mismatch or something. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, I think it's like uh yeah, like clipping, it's like what moments to clip is like a pretty interesting thing,
Mm.
yeah. Because it's like yeah, I feel like you want to try to like capture those moments of like connection or something like that.
I
Yeah.
have a funny moment that I like. This is a 2 hour video of talking, but I clipped one moment and I did like a little that thing where they put like one out of context moment right at the front that like will repeat later.
Yeah.
And I had a funny moment in Outer Wilds where I'm doing like the training ship, and then it's like my first attempt at it, and I was like going towards the landing pad like really smoothly, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty easy. And then the thing touches the landing pad, it just flips upside down and like flies into a wall. And then I was like, wait, like I was like, what? Like, okay, it's not that easy. And then it just starts the video after that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I love that.
that was so
I love
fun. Yeah, the way the timing worked.
yeah. Yeah, I love that new like I guess it's like a meta like cut of like a meme where like yeah the like climax of the action happens and then like it just keeps like repeating. I don't know
Mm.
if you know which video I'm talking about. Like the first one I saw was like a girl being like surprised by like a birthday party and like I don't know if you know
I
which
don't
one I'm
think I
talking
ever.
about. Like,
Yeah, I don't think I saw this.
I'll send it to you
And by
because
repeating,
you could probably
like they have
like
some like over the top reaction, and then what do they literally like repeat that reaction, or they like amp it up or something?
yeah, it's kind of like the moment of her being surprised. Like it's a video of her like walking through a door and then being like really scared and by like a surprise party that jumps out. But like it's basically the video starts with like that moment of her like of like really loud noises and like her getting scared and it's like just a split second of that and then it cuts to her like opening the door and then like like about a second of her opening the door it goes again and like plays the moment and then like but like just for a split second and then it continues of her like opening the door like basically and it keeps doing that up until the moment where she's like surprised by the party. uh
Yeah, that is funny to think about that in like what's the like author's intent there, that but it's almost like a like yeah, it's like, what if we didn't just put the action at the start, but then we put it like all the way along to keep the viewer like entertained, you know? It's like they're not gonna watch her open the door for 1 second, so we have to put in like 10 seconds of the hype, like the most hype critical moment to to pull people along.
yeah. Oh, I'm trying to find the like exact video but I don't know if I'll be able to.
It's kind of fun to have it like that editing technique. Like at 2 times in this video of of 2 hours, I zoom in on a character's face for like 1 second, and but that sort of clip like comes very, or that like style of editing like is now coming naturally to me, because I can like feel it. Like if I'm watching a video where they comment on some intent of the character, then you zoom in on their face so that they look kind of like suspicious or something. And it's funny to have like just the muscle memory of like, oh yeah, this is probably in a regular video, this is the part where they would like zoom in or repeat some kind of thing to
Yeah.
emphasize like the unknown mind of the person you're talking to or something.
I'll have to send it like
Mm.
a different time, probably.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be like the first one that I would see when I was searching for it, but no. Yeah, I've seen like that was the first place I saw that specific like yeah timed cutting of like it's like a meme format now. People are using like the same timing,
Huh.
and it's like yeah, it's like
That's
a
neat.
really funny yeah
It's cool to like to invent a new genre of meme, and
yeah
then like it's the same as like a song where it's like it makes sense in a way that seems obvious in retrospect, and it's like that, it's like this is the way it should be or something at this time, and somehow
mm,
just the yeah, and then you can repeat the format and recognize the format across different clips. And then it's
yeah
just fun to think of like events in our life that happen or videos that we have that we could put into that format, and then you could send them to people, and they would sort of, if they know the format, they like get the timing.
yeah
Yeah, well,
yeah we could
that was good.
probably
We can end, I guess.
yeah okay.
Yeah, see
I
you next
think
time. Or yeah,
I'll
what?
probably won't be. I don't
Oh,
think
you
I'll
will.
be free
Yeah,
for the next like few. I might be not free for the
yeah,
next few weeks. Yeah,
yeah.
but
We
I'll
can
let you
skip
know.
then. Yeah. All right.
Okay. All right. Bye. Love you.
Bye. Love you.